We are back with VI Tings. I'm your host, Ali Born-Vinak. We are heading to the basketball court with one of the most talented basketball stars from the USVI. I'm talking about Milt Newton, who was born and raised in St. Thomas. Not only is Milt a college basketball champion and helped lead an NBA team to their own title, he continues to help and mentor young players in the USVI. He's never forgotten about home, and home has never forgotten about Milt. Let's catch up with Milt Newton.
He's won himself, and that's 5 by the Sooners, so not a huge advantage. Now Newton down, wrap around, beautiful shot by Newton.
Milt Newton, a 6'5" basketball player from the U.S. Virgin Islands, knows how to play under pressure.
Billy?
Here's Newton on the great move he makes on the inside.
Nothing could stop him in 1988, the year he and the University of Kansas went toe-to-toe against Oklahoma in the national championship game.
And because of that vertical leaping ability, he can just go by Grant and hang in the air.
Like a powerful storm, the kid from the small island of St. Thomas was lightning. That night, Milt went from college hoops player to college basketball champion.
The Kansas Jayhawks have beaten all odds.
For Milt, dreams of winning championships began long before hitting the hardwood with the mighty Rock Chalk Jayhawks. And long before he won an NBA title in his position as Assistant General Manger with the Milwaukee Bucks. It began out here on this court in his old neighborhood of Bordeaux on the west end of St. Thomas. What is it like being here, just being able to reminisce about the old days?
Yeah, no, it's always good to come back and, like you said, reminisce. Brings back memories of my childhood, bring back memories of, old friends that I grew up with, brings back memories of hot days on the asphalt, just, playing basketball, the sport that I love. And, it's always a good feeling to come back to people that knew you when you were little and continue to support you as an adult.
This court was where all hoop dreams began for Milt. Now it bears his name. Back in the day, the court was a stone's throw away from his childhood home, literally just over this fence. He'd be out here all night shooting hoops. His friends remember those days like it was yesterday. This is where it all began.
Definitely. We played a lot of games on this court, against each other and with each other. But it started here. We played from some days from 12 noon to night, like 10 o'clock at night. So
wow.
We played a lot of games here in Bordeaux. We would hang out together, go to town and chill out and stuff like that. But usually when we played against each other, we always went against each other. Because I was a scorer, he was a scorer, so we always battled out to see who could score against each other and stuff like that. But he was always bigger than me, so a lot of times he would win. So, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But it's fun being out here, especially with the court named after him. It's awesome. I'm so happy for him.
Friends of Milt, like Tito, remember it all. So do his former coaches at the University of Kansas. Milt played for Hall of Fame head coaches Larry Brown and Roy Williams, and also John Calipari, who was on Larry Brown's coaching staff. 3 of the greatest basketball coaches of all time.
Milt was, a great teammate. He demanded a lot of himself, and he was with a group that I think he had great trust in, but everybody had great respect for him.
When I think of Milt as he played for me at the University of Kansas, he was a great shooter. He wanted to win. He cared. And that's the biggest thing that I always think about is Milt Newton cared about winning, but he cared about doing the right things.
He had the right values, and I think you could see that by the way he interacted with his teammates. He demanded a lot from himself. I think he was more of a leader that led by example than actually would telling people how to behave. And those are always the best kind of leaders.
He was a great leader. We had a good year, not the one that he had the year before when they won the national championship, but Milt has a special place in my heart as a player, much less as a friend, is the way I see him right now.
The bond Milt shares with his former coaches goes beyond basketball. They've been there for Milt as his career took flight to becoming an NBA executive. He's been general manager with the Timberwolves, and he's an assistant general manager and champion now with the Bucks. Milt says his coaches have inspired him and supported him, especially as he coaches basketball camps every summer for youth in the USVI. How great has this camp been?
It's been awesome. It was our dream, having, like I said, growing up here and being in their place when I was young and just looking for someone to pay attention, teach me, mentor me. So we do about 100 kids a year. This year was our 8th annual, and out of Udurican, and pretty much just teaching them the correct way to play the game. Having played for 3 Hall of Fame coaches and learning how to play the game correctly, I felt it was really important for me to come back and give back to our youth. We're all athletic and we can run and we can jump, but when it comes to the finer points of the game, I felt that's something that we can definitely benefit from, and just kind of took it upon myself to come back and provide that.
The basketball camps are put on through Milt's Emerald Gems Foundation. Milt brings down some of the game's top coaches to teach kids in the territory. For years of dedication and outreach, he was honored this summer by the Virgin Islands Legislature.
It's a privilege and an honor because, you're being recognized by your peers, you're being recognized by your people, and they acknowledge you for your accomplishments and what you're doing to give back to the territory. And that's one of the things that I always tell our campers, like when you move on and you become successful in whatever you do, try to pour back into the youth because someone poured into you. So it was a great honor to receive that award.
What he does with United States Virgin Islands is incredible. I think keep going down there year after year after year, trying to do some things to help young people. The place is home to him. That will never change. And I think him going to the Virgin Islands and doing that every single year, he cares again. He cares about what he's doing. So I'm extremely proud of Milt Newton. He's a great, great person. I loved having him. I was very fortunate to have him as a player. But what he's done since he played has been far bigger in the scope of what's going on in our world.
As the years go by, some things stay the same, like the magic of his childhood basketball court in Bordeaux. More than anything, he knows what it's like to be out here and wants to help others win.
There's nothing that you can't do if you put your mind to it, if you put effort into it. But the first thing is having a goal. If you have a goal, then you can direct your energies in that direction. There's an old saying that says, a ship without a sail, any port will do. So you have to have something to focus on and move in that direction. And if you do that, you're always going to be successful.
Milt is one of the most talented and accomplished players, and it's his spirit of giving back that truly makes him one of the greats. Big shout out to Milt and his entire family for continuing to give back to home. And a big shout out to the University of Kansas for sharing highlights of Milt, his championship and winning seasons at Kansas. Okay, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're heading to the Big Island and it's a party. We got the sweet sounds of the VI from one of the most famous bands to come out of St. Croix, and truly one of the most iconic bands in the U.S. Virgin Islands. All that and more when we return.